I want to say a big thank you to all the colleagues who've helped put this together as a novel experiment for us. So Hamish and Nicole at ARMA, thank you very much. And Anna and Lucy and many other colleagues at RAEng, thank you. And obviously to everyone for your time for participating. At the Academy, we're great believers and very much appreciate all the work that research managers and research officers do. That's partly because a lot of us have worked in that side of things ourselves before we were at the Academy, but also because we know we won't get the applications we need to fund unless you and your colleagues are supporting the applicants and helping them tailor their applications to our schemes and our requirements. So we really appreciate the chance to talk to you directly like this. I'd also say, you know, you'll hear all sorts of details of many things about the Academy, but the first thing I'd emphasize is that we're all about excellence in engineering for the benefit of society. And that means we have a focus on impact and applied research. That means we're often looking for very different things from other funders. Our emphasis on skills, on translation, and just on the proximity to users means that often the sorts of things we consider to be high quality and extremely interesting are different from those that research councils or more blue sky funders might be looking for. And hopefully as we go through the details of our schemes, you'll see how that philosophy is reflected in things. But it just means it's another reason why we really like being able to reach out to a wider set of universities and research organizations than we're often able to do through this sort of session. We're often looking for things that don't just hang around in sort of large engineering departments in the Russell Group, but are out there in sort of the applied innovation excellence that exists across the wider system. I'd also say that while I hope today's sessions are useful, I hope you'll consider this the start of a relationship rather than the completion of it. So I hope you'll get to know the team a bit and be able to then follow up with them if you do have queries on particular schemes. But also watch the Academy as you see things develop. But a lot of interesting things going on at the moment. Some of you may have seen the government's announced a new R&D roadmap at 9 this morning. And some of our programs will be evolving in response to that. So even though you're going to hear the very latest news this morning, there will be changes as our funders change things, and also sort of we see other aspects of the innovation landscape change. So do keep in touch and watch the further announcements. But again, just thank you to all for your time, and I hope you enjoyed the day. I think it's now over to Christina, my colleague Christina Guindy, who's going to give you a wider overview of the Academy's activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Can we change the slide, please? I'm Christina Guindy. I head up the programs, research programs at the Academy. Welcome to our third ARMA RAEng study tour. I echo some of Andrew's comments. This is extremely important for us to engage with a wider set of universities, meet the research team, the management team at the universities, and to engage with you and show you the offerings and support that the Academy has. Over the next few slides, I'm going to give you an overview of our strategy. It's recently been, a new strategy for 2020 to 25 has recently been published, and a bit more about our vision, and then I'll pass over to my colleagues who will give you details on the specific fundings and offers. Next slide, please. We are a national academy for engineering and technology. Our three distinct features is that we are a charity that exists to promote excellence in engineering for the benefit of society. We're a fellowship organization. The fellows represent the very best entrepreneurs, industrialists, and academics, and they have a passion and commitment for engineering. They work in partnership with us to deliver our programs, and they are throughout the governance structure of the Academy, from the president to the trustee board through to our steering groups and committees. Next slide, please. Our vision is engineering in the service of society, and we bring together the expertise of our fellows to deliver public benefit through engineering excellence and technology innovation. More from my colleagues on that, in enterprise, research, and education. We provide leadership for the engineering profession, and we provide independent advice to government and are trusted for independence and professional excellence. Next slide, please. Our values. We are progressive leaders. We're deeply committed to driving positive change for engineering and for society. We are diverse and inclusive. We want to create an inclusive culture where different perspectives are respected and collectively enhance our performance. We're all about excellence. We bring evidence, integrity, and expertise in everything that we do, and we always seek to improve. We collaborate with other partners and organizations for mutual benefit and to improve our outcomes. And we're very creative and innovative in thinking about solutions to problems. Next slide, please. So generally, our overarching goal is to harness the power of engineering for sustainable society and for an inclusive economy that works for all. Engineering is critical to providing solutions to societal challenges, sustainability, the climate crisis, aging population, but also now in the current situation with COVID, engineering has played a very important role in advising government, but also in creating some of the solutions from PPE, from thinking about how to upscale manufacturing processes to develop vaccines, and through to longer term thinking of how can we be better prepared and how can our systems, healthcare systems, etc., be better prepared and resilient for the future. So I will give you a little bit more information on our two overarching goals in the current strategy. It's published online, so please feel free to refer to that after that. Our first goal is about advancing global sustainability. So as you all know, a sustainable society is one that meets the development needs of the current generation without compromising the ability of the future. Engineers are influential agents of change with regards to providing better engineering solutions for faster decarbonization, more sustainable use of resources. And our programs have that overarching goal in mind. Next slide, please. Inclusive economy. Engineers are drivers of prosperity, whether it's advances in research that brings new products, services that improve people's lives, or enterprises and businesses that create jobs and value for society. And an inclusive economy is one where the prosperity is shared by all, and we are very committed to achieving this. It'll be, of course, a longer time span than our 5-year vision, but it's certainly a second and very important overarching goal. And I should say here that in both these goals, our international activities are equally important in the collaborations that we bring in sharing best practice. Next slide, please. So our key actions. I mentioned before about talent and diversity. We are committed to improving the talent pipeline and to make it much more diverse and inclusive. This is a particular challenge in the engineering profession with a shortfall of more than 12,000 engineers a year. And engineering is for the service of society, so it needs to reflect the society that it serves. So our D&I team has, over the past 8 years, been very committed to working with organizations to identify barriers to bring about these cultural changes to make it much more inclusive. Innovation. We want to expand and improve our support for innovators with our enterprise programs and our researchers to address these sustainability goals. And policy and engagement. We would like our engineers to be more confident about speaking to government and lending their expertise on these issues of national importance, but also build the appetite within government, seek advice from engineering, because engineering, as I said, plays a very important role in sustainability and in addressing a lot of the goals of the future. So we have a National Engineering Policy Centre that brings together 39 professional engineering institutions and represents 450,000 engineers. And they connect policymakers to the engineering expertise so that it can inform government's decision-making and make better policies for sustainability, for a more resilient future and economy for the UK. Next slide, please. There are two calls to action in my talk. I'll start with this one. As I mentioned, engineering plays a critical role now in the pandemic, and the Academy has done a lot of work to identify a lot of work in this, including a preparedness call that we've done in collaboration with the international program. But here is a call for it, and this is all online. If you have expertise related to COVID-19 or its impact, or you're prepared to give insights, then to get in touch. As I mentioned, the preparedness call, where we have funded over 20 small grants to international UK researchers and innovators. And we also launched a new online Q&A series, Innovation in a Crisis, to explore the different ways in which the engineering profession can contribute to the COVID-19 response. And I think this is online, so you'd be able to read it. The policy team have also developed a report, Engineering a Resilient Future. And I think that's online as well, lessening the impact of easing lockdown and basically building a resilient future. So that sort of sums it up, I think, for me. One last thing I would like to say is that with regards to talent and diversity, we very much want to work with you, but in partnership with you, to improve the diversity pipeline for engineering. So I call on you to please ask, when you go back to your organizations, when you are submitting to us applications, that they do come from underrepresented groups in engineering, because we really need your help in this, and together we can build a much more diverse and talented pipeline. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoy the day. I certainly found it very enjoyable when they're physical, so I think the virtual one will be just as good. I will now pass on and introduce you to Ursula, who's from our enterprise team, and she's going to give you details of our support for entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina, and good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to meet you today. And by way of introduction, my name is Ursula, and I'm Enterprise Fellowship Program Manager with the Enterprise Hub. The next few slides will provide an outline of what the Enterprise Hub does, and I will give you a few specifics about the Enterprise Fellowship Program, which I believe will be most of the interest to you also. So starting with the purpose of the Hub and its programs, it is essentially to support engineering entrepreneurs. Next slide, please. This slide presents our objectives, and the overarching sort of aim is to foster an entrepreneurial culture for the UK engineering and technology entrepreneurs. Through our programs and initiatives, we want to inspire and encourage, accelerate innovation and transform the appetite and climate for entrepreneurs. Next slide, please. Who do we support at the Hub? So we support university researchers through our University Enterprise Fellowships Program, so that we can unlock more university spin-outs. We support graduates through our Graduate Enterprise Fellowship Program, so that we can transform ideas in such areas as product design, medtech, software, clean tech, and renewables into successful companies. This also includes international PhD students who are based in the UK and looking to start up a company following their PhD. We also provide support to leaders of high growth SMEs through our SME Leaders program, with the aim to upskill engineering and technology entrepreneurs to become the leaders of tomorrow's major engineering and technology companies. Additionally, we also support young engineers and technology entrepreneurs between the age of 18 and 25 through our Launchpad competition. Next slide, please. What's our support package then? Everyone we support becomes a member of the Enterprise Hub. Members receive an exceptional package of support, which includes equity-free funding of up to £60,000, tailored training and mentoring, including mentoring from the Academy Fellows who are leading experts in their fields, coaching and one-to-one clinics, PR and marketing support, access to Taylor Centre workspace in central London, and access to the hub community, which consists of peers, investors, and industry experts. Next slide, please. So I would like to elaborate on the hub community here, because I believe you're very much part of it. But they are sort of the four major groups, and so they are the Academy Fellows who can provide expert support and guidance and are an invaluable resource. These are investors who often help us accelerate the hub members fundraising, corporates who can provide additional specialist advice, for example, the one-to-one sessions. And the community is further enhanced by the network of the alumni founders and entrepreneurs that we've supported in the last few years. And we also work with the wider Academy alumni network of exceptional researchers and international entrepreneurs. Next slide, please. I would like to draw a picture of what the value circle of our programs is here, and for the universities, it is the exploitation of various opportunities that are listed on the slide. For the hub members, it's those entrepreneurial skills that they gain, and for the industry and investors, it's validation, and for the country as a whole, it is the enhancement and growth of the economy. Next slide, please. In terms of startup awardee progress, the entrepreneurs we have supported in the last few years have raised nearly £150 million of funding, created over 620 jobs. 40% of them are now post-revenue and looking to scale up. And for the 61% of the entrepreneurs that we have worked with, the survival rate is over 3 years. Next slide, please. I will now give you an overview of the Enterprise Fellowship program. Because of this, the synergies, I believe that they are, and enhance your interest. And so through the program, as I touched before, we support recent graduates, researchers, doctors, and international PhD students. How do we do that? We award those talented individuals with up to 60k equity-free grant, as I mentioned before, and over the duration of a program, which is 12 months, we provide them with tailored training, bespoke support and mentoring. We invite them to attend valuable events and workshops, and we also enable access to high quality networks, which I have mentioned before. Next slide, please. So here are the eligibility criteria, which I would like to briefly outline. So the minimum, so one of the criterion is minimum technology readiness level, which must be 4, and the applicant must be ready to be the company CEO or COO. Technology must be innovative and protectable. We also work with recent graduates, as I mentioned before. By recent, I mean those who have graduated in the last 5 years. The applicants must show ambition to scale the business and stay with it until potential exit. A team is also allowed, however, one of the members should be a lead, and also one member should be employed on a full-time basis. Next slide, please. And here is our selection process overview. We normally hold an open day, but of course, you know, that's been suspended due to the pandemic. Then there are 2 stages of applications. One short one, so preliminary to assess eligibility. Then stage 2 is to assess the applicant, the competency, the ambition, the commercial viability of the business. The applications are reviewed by a panel of reviewers who are industry experts, so who are also academy fellows. The shortlisted applicants are subsequently interviewed, and on average, we make an award offer to 12 individuals. A program cohort starts with an induction day, and in fact, we are holding an online welcome event later on today for our new cohort. And next slide, please. And this really completes the overview of the Enterprise Fellowship Program. If you have any questions, I'll be taking them in one of the breakout rooms in about, well, half an hour or so. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of you there. Thank you very much.
Hi, so I'm Lucy Wheeler. I'm a Senior Programme Manager of the Research Programmes, and I'm going to be doing the rest of the talks today. So the Academy's research programmes offer comprehensive support to excellent researchers while fostering long-term collaborations between academia and industry. We focus on use-inspired and industrial relevant research so that excellent research can be translated into economic and social benefit. So we consider engineering in its broader sense. So basically, if it has a practical application, it's probably engineering is the way we look at it. But if in any doubt at all, feel free to pop us an email or chat to us and we can give you a definitive answer. So we also accept application from applicants with non-traditional engineering backgrounds and non-engineering departments and institutions. So as long as they've got a strong track record in an engineering discipline, and a case can be made for the engineering research in the proposal. So, and unless it's specified on the slide somewhere else, all our programmes are funded by the Department of Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy. So we support researchers at all stages of their career, from early career right through to the most established academics working in the UK. So I'll start off with the Early Career Awards. So our Research Fellowships is one of our most competitive programmes. So it's now open, and the deadline this year is the 21st of September. So this programme has 3 objectives. So it aims to support the best early career researchers in establishing their independence in international reputations. It provides long-term support enabling the pursuit of an ambitious programme of engineering research and impact. And it's to develop ambassadors for the Academy and advocates for STEM disciplines. So in addition to our normal research fellowships, there's also 2 other options, which are our research fellowships for engineering for development research fellowships, which are funded by the GCRF. Sorry, I was having problems reading that on my slide. And then this year, for the first time, we're offering Orthopaedic Research UK fellowships. So these are co-sponsored by Orthopaedics Research UK, and they're to support research specifically in within musculoskeletal field. And applications for that strand in particular won't come from the normal quota that universities have. So universities generally can only submit 4 applications per year for these awards. Okay, so the key aspects we're looking for these awardees are vision and ambition. It shouldn't be an incremental proposal from their PhD. And they really need to demonstrate independence from their PhD supervisor if it's in a similar area. So then also for early career researchers, so we've been running the scheme for about 5 years now, and it's in partnership with the Government Office for Science. So these are intelligence community postdoctoral research fellowships. And so the Go Science is made up of several different members. A few of them I can talk about, and others I can't. But they include the Centre for Protection of National Infrastructure and the Department of Transport and DSTL, among many, many others. And they give us a list of 10 topics every year that they are looking for researchers to address. And it's 2 years of funding, and in addition to the mentorship that you get from our fellowship, which you get with all of our long-term schemes, which is pretty awesome, the awardees also get a mentor from an advisor from the intelligence community. So they're really, really hands-on in managing these programs. And even if you're not successful, it's a really, they do the selection process. So it's a really interesting group of people to get your research in front of. So if there's anybody in your universities that are working in any of these areas, it's worth having a look at the list of topics every year, because flagging it with them to in a proposal, because if they find it interesting enough, they will find ways of funding it. So early to mid-career programs, we have our Leverhulme Trust Awards. These are aimed at mid-career academics who have teaching and admin responsibilities, and it's 1 year of teaching buyout to enable them to really concentrate and focus on putting together a really big proposal to make that next step in their career. So the applicants must be able to demonstrate a significant administrative and teaching workload that prevents them from dedicating as much time to research as they like. So if they've only started teaching, then it might count against them in the application process, but if they're a couple of years into their teaching a break, then to be able to focus on their research, then it's a really great scheme to apply for. So we also have our Leverhulme Trust Apex Awards. So we run these in partnership with the British Academy and the Royal Society, and they are truly cross-disciplinary awards. So the research has to cover the remits at least 2 of the academies to be eligible for the scheme. And we're trying to look to provide support for research that's unlikely to be supported through conventional funding programs, and there's a real focus on innovation. So it's a 2-year program, and I can't read my slides because we're on chat. And it's £100,000 to pay for teaching. Oh, it's not teaching with president. It's £100,000 up to 2 years. So we also have our industrial fellowships, which are also aimed at mid-career academics. So we've been running these for a really long time, where we've enabled academics to spend time in an industrial setting. But as of last year, we've also enabled industrialists to take secondments into universities. So these should last between 6 months and 24 to 2 years, and then it can be full or part-time. And we will contribute up to £50,000 per year, up to cover the salary cost of the applicant. So the scheme really aims to strengthen the strategic relationship between the industry and the academia partner by providing an opportunity to establish or enhance collaborative research projects between the 2 parties. So the scheme is open to engineers from all disciplines, and as I said, you can either go from industry into academia, back to industry. So We will accept applications for international fellowships from UK universities, where a UK candidate will take a secondment in a company that's based overseas, but we can't do that for the industry inter-university applicants. And the industry house can be of any size, as long as the organisation can demonstrate that it will provide awardees with an appropriate working environment. So we really encourage applications to work with SMEs, and we find that a lot of the applicants from this scheme will then go on and apply for some of our more senior schemes, so the research chairs and the senior research fellowships. So these are for senior academics, so research chairs, senior research fellowships. So it's 2 strands of funding, but the package is exactly the same no matter which strand you apply for. So for the research chair, you need to be a professor already, and for the senior research fellowship, then they need to be lecturer level upwards. And if they get promoted during the time of their award, then they get automatically made into a research chair. So we aim to strengthen the links between industry and academia, and we support senior academics in UK universities to focus on use-inspired research that meets the needs of the industrial partner. We have 2 calls a year, and the deadlines are in March and September. And so there needs to be an industrial contribution of at least £250,000 over the 5-year period. But this can be cash or in-kind contribution. But the level of contribution is a part of the assessment criteria. So my normal examples don't work very well in this environment, because normally I'd be saying, well, if it's someone like Rolls-Royce, we'd expect them to put cash in. But changed over the last couple of months. But if it's a big industrial partner with a lot of funding then and a big interest in research, we'd expect them to pay more in cash. But if it's a SME or a startup, then in-kind funding is allowable and encouraged in some areas. I mean, sometimes it's actually much more beneficial than the cash. So successful awardees on most of our large schemes are expected to spend no more than 4 hours per week on teaching and administrative duties. So we put this in our contracts, and we understand that academics don't generally work a normal working week, but it gives us a way to push back at the demands of the universities, so they are able to actually concentrate on building their groups and focus on their research. So we also have our chairs of emerging technologies. So these are senior academics. The award is designed to support global visionaries leading on developing emerging technology areas, and the awards are for 10 years. So the technology areas should have high potential to deliver economic and social benefit to the UK. And in addition to nearly £3 million of funding for each award, we offer an academy fellow to mentor, to try and facilitate the formulation of industry links and the leading to the commercialisation of the research. So the application should have a clear 10-year research vision that underpins the proposal, and researchers can be working on disruptive innovations in either well-established areas, in overlooked fields, or brand new emerging technologies. And again, if you're in any doubt about whether the applicant fits this remit, get them to send like a short paragraph to us, and we can give you a yes/no answer, but rather than putting in a full application and wasting people's times. Okay, so those were our research schemes, and now moving on to our education programs. So we have our engineering leaders scholarships. And these are scholarships for undergraduates who show potential to be future leaders in engineering. They need to show in their application the kind of activities events they will do through the scheme funding to give them a better start in their early career up the ladder. And they need to articulate in their application, both in written form and a multimedia message, what they will do and what they've have done to demonstrate leadership. And the funds are for career development activities, and they can be anywhere in the world and anything that they think are going to be useful for their career. And they get to manage it themselves. It doesn't go through the university, so they can literally do anything they want. And then we also organise, as part of the scheme, an annual weekend of networking and training events with a range of past awardees and other leaders from industries. And there's an advice and support network through the Academy's network. So they're available for undergraduates who meet the following criteria. So they're undertaking an undergraduate degree at a UK university, including those completing degree apprenticeships. The degree must be in engineering or a related discipline, and they must have completed already at least 1 year of their degree, and have at least 2 years left until graduation. And they need to ordinarily be a resident in the UK and eligible to pay UK home fees. So we also have the Sir Ralph Robbins scholarships. So they're the same as the engineering leaders scholarships, except the awards are they're larger awards. So they get £10,000 instead of £5,000. And they can use the extra £5,000 towards their tuition fees. So if your applicants want to be considered for this, they need to have attended a non-fee paying secondary school and meet one of the following criteria. So they have to have been eligible to receive free school meals, or from the first generation of your immediate family to attend university, or spent time in local authority care. So we also have our visiting professor scheme, which is the very other end of the education link. So this is a teaching scheme. So this is to enable industry leaders to come into a university to utilise the experience of the industry leaders to improve your teaching and learning in employability and skills in the UK university. So the Academy is committed to diversity and inclusion for all our schemes, and we encourage nominations and nominees from underrepresented groups. So the main objectives of the scheme are to facilitate closer collaboration between the industry and the university, to deliver teaching and learning on relevant engineering courses, and to provide students with real-life industrial contexts and scenarios, and to inspire the next generation of engineers to benefit from UK industry. So it also provides advice and guidance to university and courses. So we also have our graduate employer engagement program, GEEP, as we like to call it. So this is a collaborative employment program, and we target engineering undergraduates who are female or from socially disadvantaged backgrounds or ethnic minority backgrounds, with a focus on the universities outside the Russell Group. And the program provides students with the opportunity to engage with employers through a series of events and networking opportunities, with a view to encouraging them to apply for engineering employment opportunities. So it's a really, really great scheme. So it's 4 2-day events which are free for the students to attend, and we give them career guidance after the events, including mock interviews. It's really cool. Okay, so then moving on to our international schemes, and we do a whole host of stuff in our international teams, and I'm only highlighting the stuff that is relevant to UK universities directly. If you have people who work internationally, it's worth them having a quick look at our website to see if there's opportunities for them to get involved. But these are the ways we directly fund big like UK universities through our international programs. So in the Academy's Sustainable Development Programs, hoping to advance engineering's contribution to a safer, healthier, more prosperous world for people in developing countries and emerging technologies, and tackling the global challenges of our time. And their current priorities include fostering innovation and entrepreneurship, so we provide seed funding, training, mentoring and profile raising, engineering capacity building in sub-Saharan Africa through grant funds, partnership provision and networking, and connecting early to mid-career researchers and providing them with seed funding, interdisciplinary international network and symposia on thematic basis. So we run for early career researchers the Frontiers of Engineering for Development and the Frontiers of Development. These are great and early career researchers get involved in. They we've moved to a completely virtual version of this, and my colleague Alice, who's going to be in the breakout room later, has worked really hard to deliver this in like record timing. But the traditional events are awesome. They're 2.5-day symposia from across the world and from many different organisations, and they bring them together, have 2.5 days of really awesome talks and networking sessions, and then the seed funding that's ring-fenced at the end for the applicants to apply for. And they have the seed funding has to be based on a new collaboration that you've built at the event. So the seed funding and the events look very different, but they are still awesome, and we can probably open them up to more people because we're doing them virtually. And the next symposium will be on resilient resources in November 2020, and then after that we'll be doing a symposium around smart communities in early 2021. If we go back to real life events, then the other great thing about this is if you get invited to the event, it's expenses paid, and they've gone to some awesome places like Madagascar to run these events. So they're really, really great opportunities for early career researchers to build their networks. We also have EngineeringX, which is a new partnership which is supported by Lloyd's Registry Foundation, and they're new to the fund. So it's a new international collaboration that brings together some of the world's leading problem solvers to address the greatest challenges of our age. A global network of experts, engineers, academics and business leaders are working in partnership to share best practice, explore new technologies, educate and train the next generation of engineers, and build capacity to improve safety and deliver impact. So we aim to bring together partners from around the world to build on a network of global alliances to tackle the most pressing engineering, safety and sustainability problems, to develop practical, sustainable, accessible solutions for the engineering profession worldwide. So they have 4 initial missions. They are looking at transforming systems through partnerships, safer complex systems, safer end of engineering life, and engineering skills where they're most needed. So the current opportunities that are open are both in the safer complex system area, and there's a corporate case study. So they're trying to create a portfolio of written case studies that share important areas across the sector to help create safer practice. And there's details for applications. So there's funding available to help put the case studies together if you're selected. And there's also a survey that we'd like circulated as widely as possible to look at how do diversity and inclusion impact safety systems. And that is open for another week. So if you'd like to circulate that to our network, to your networks, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you have academics that work in any of the areas that are covered in EngineeringX program, then it's really, it'd be good to get them to check out the programs and see how they can get involved. So these are really, really new areas for us to be working in, and we're shaping the program as we go. So there's ways to get involved at the moment to help shape funding and the profile of how this is going to be delivered. So yeah, have a look at the website and point your academics in that direction. And that is the end of the slides. Oh no, I'm lying. We've got public engagement, sorry. So we also have our Ingenious Public Engagement Award Scheme. So these are funding for projects that engage the public with engineers and engineering. So it provides opportunities for engineers to take part in public engagement activities and gain skills in communications. They prioritise projects that reach diverse and underrepresented audiences, and all projects must involve an engineer in their development or the delivery of the project. So they have the opportunity to gain skills, knowledge and experience in public engagement. So applicants must be employed and based in the UK, and joint partnership applications between engineers and organisations that specialise in communications or engagement with the public are welcome. And the grants are between £3,000 and £30,000, and there's no preference on what size of grant we give out. It's just if it's a great application, like it doesn't matter if they just need slightly just to fund the expensive rounds. They provide really, really great evaluation training and guidance that I have stolen for many things. And it's run by our comm team, so they give really, really good communication support and networking opportunities. Okay, so thanks so much for listening to me for so long. I'm going to open up for questions. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. So if you want to put your hand up if you've got any questions for me or for anybody else. I think most of the facilitators are in the room at the moment as well. Put your hand up or stick your video on so we can see you. That would be really, really great.
Somebody has asked just on the chat function if we will be sharing the slides, and we will be sharing that with everybody.
Yeah. And at any point in the future, if you've got any questions for us, we're a really small organisation. We're always happy to talk about our stuff and answer any questions. Just give us a shout, and if we don't know the answer, we will, point you directly to the person who can help you in the team. So.
If anybody feels more comfortable using the chat function, you're also welcome to do that if you've got any questions.
So I've got a question here. So for the Research Chair Senior Research Fellowships, thank you, Jessica, for your question. Is there any leeway regarding the industrial contribution during the COVID crisis? Or is this where the focus on the focus on in-kind support comes in? So yes, we appreciate that this might really affect our applications for this. I think if you we will probably receive lots more applications that are receiving much more in-kind support. I think we're going to keep the eligibility the same for this round because we have a round open at the moment and it's closing in September, and we'll look at it again then. But yeah, so the other thing to say about this, which we don't put down in writing anywhere, is it can be existing support that they're providing. So if they're already putting in PhD students and they're going to be running over the course of the award, then you can count that towards the contribution that the industrial partner is giving. Yeah, hope that answers your question.
Somebody has asked a question about the success rates of the research fellowships, Lucy.
So the research fellowships is our most competitive scheme. We make the universities limit to 4 applications each, and it's still a 10% success rate with that. We mostly put the university limit in because we are a small team, so we struggle to manage any more than that. So yeah, about a 10% success rate. But interestingly, some of the other schemes have a much higher success rate. So the research fellowship, senior research chair, senior research fellowship, it's about a 50% success rate. And I think that's because of the high bar of the industrial funding, but it's really good to know that if you've got a strong application and a strong industrial partner, then actually you've got a chance of getting funded. And when we did the interviews in the last round, we interviewed 6 candidates and we made 6 winners, which was great. I didn't have to do any feedback at all. For the Leverhulme Trust scheme as well, it's about a 50% success rate. The research fellowship's not the apex. I'm not sure off my head what the apex is. And I believe the industrial fellowships is about a 25% success rate. Jorge, can you correct me if I'm wrong?
I think with the industrial fellowships, it's in the last couple of years we've been able to fund at least 2/3 of all applications received, so it's been quite high. As long as we got the budget and the applications are of enough quality, then yeah.
Okay, so there's a question about engineering remit coverage from Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. So yeah, if you're unsure about whether it is fits within the engineering remit, you can get in touch pre-application. It's probably best to talk to the program manager that runs the scheme, and it's always stated in the guidance notes. And yeah, we can give a yes/no answer to that. But I'd say in most cases we will say can't think of any cases where we've said no to the engineering remit. And then I've had another question, which was they didn't catch the Leverhulme success rates. So for our Leverhulme Trust research fellowships, it's about a 50% success rate at the moment. Ursula, do you know what the ones are like on enterprise, or is that really unfair to ask you? Ursula's very new to the academy, so she's
Cute. I don't actually, I'm afraid. Yes, I am. I've only, well, I joined 2 months ago, so I'm still learning. Apologies, but I can find out. And let everyone know that it's full.
Thanks. Stilly, any feedback on the visiting professors? What are your success rates like at the moment?
Visiting professor stuff has up to about a year ago, it's about 50%, but we've had quite an increase in applications. We're sitting this year at about a 30% success rate. And like Jorge said, if we had more funding, we could have funded at least another double that amount, at least, sort of thing. And on the Engineering Leadership Awards, we normally get about we've got about 34 places, so we normally end up with about 150 to 200 applications for that, and there's quite a few processes involved. 70 people end up coming for a formal interview and assessment, and half of those get through.
Cool. That's a really fun all-day event in the academy as well.
Yeah.
Apologies. Actually, I remember, I know the success rate for enterprise fellowship, which is 25%. I did see that last night. So it is 25%.
I think you know, we're quite a niche funder, and not everybody thinks of us for applications. So it's partly the reason we do so much promotional work. But there are great engineers out there who don't know about our schemes, and we're trying to raise the profile. Alice, so it's a bit different with your selection for your Frontiers people, right?
That's right. So for Frontiers, first of all, you must attend one of our Frontiers symposiums before you are eligible for the funding. And you can attend one of our symposia by signing up via an expression of interest form on the website. But then once you've been once you come to, if you've been at the symposium, when you come to apply for the seed funding, it's usually between about 50 and 70% success rate, because we've obviously you know, there's the pre-existing eligibility of having been at that event, so we get a lower number of applications, and we're able to give quite a lot of support on those applications as well. And I would also just say that because we have the 2 different schemes, the Frontiers of Engineering for Development and Frontiers of Development, just going back to that point, that question about remit coverage, Frontiers of Development is completely interdisciplinary. So if you have people who are working with engineers but aren't engineers and are interested in international development type themes, it's worth them having a look at our schemes there as well.
I didn't say anything about your follow-on funding as well, because that's really new, isn't it?
Good point. Yeah, follow-on funding we just launched this year. So it's basically it's a bit of a journey. Once you've been to the Frontiers event, you can apply for the seed funding. Once you've been awarded seed funding, you become eligible for our follow-on funding. Follow-on funding is worth up to £300,000 over 3 years. That allows your seed funding project to be taken into a fully formed research project. So it's really, really great for any researchers that you have at the kind of early career stage who are trying to build their profile, and if they're interested in international development, it's really worth checking out, because it's kind of like a whole community building funnel. And the success rate for the follow-on funding, it was really competitive in the first round. There's a lot of appetite for it. I think it was about 1 in 5, so about 20%.